Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show here on STV2. The main talking points on tonight's programme. Destiny in our own hands after Scotland takes 6 points from 6 in our 2 World Cup qualifiers. Griffiths confident he'll be fit for Celtic in the Champions League. Martin Canning banking on big luck for Hamilton Accies. Lots to talk about on tonight's programme. Alan Ruff is alongside me, Peter Martin. Delighted to say we've got a first-class midfield for you this evening. Gordon Smith, as ever, with us, alongside former Rangers captain Barry Ferguson. And Scotland at the forefront of our thoughts, Ruffy, because last night completed 6 points from 6 from 2 games.
Yep, that was the target. I think we have to be happy with that. You know, if you want to go a wee bit deeper into it, you know, in last night's performance, I think we'll have to play better in the next 2 games coming up. But we're there, we're still in it. You know, I still think, and everybody's saying, you know, 20 points is a must. I don't think it is. I think there's certain groups with hard games coming up might just reach 18. But let's go for maximum points and get us there.
Yeah, OK. Here's a look at the back page headlines. And, of course, Scotland dominating them with the Daily Record. Spit and polish. This is obviously a reference to Berra celebrating his goal and rather unsavoury incident. Scott Brown, the Scotland captain, talking about a spitting incident from a Maltese player. The Sun has Christophe Berra again talking about the possibility of us making it to Russia. Marcus Rashford at the top there, scoring the goal for England that gave them a win over Slovakia. The Daily Mail, as ever, bring it on, and destiny now in our own hands, according to Gordon Strachan. And I think, Barry Ferguson, if you'd have asked Gordon Strachan way back at the start of the campaign, look, England will be top, you've got a chance of a playoff, he'd have bitten your hand off. Yeah,
listen, England were always going to be favourites to win the group. I thought at the off that we would have got second place. We didn't have a great start, but listen, the last few games have been excellent. I'll go back to the last England game at Hampden. I thought the guys were great, and they've brought that on in the Lithuania game. And then last night, as Ruffy said, it wasn't a great performance, but you know what, it was a professional performance, and they got the 3 points, and we've come out with 6 points and looking forward to the next set of games.
Yeah, I don't think anybody really cares about the performance. I mean, at times you can hear a pin drop in the place.
Well, first, the categories, there's 3 categories involved here. First is the result. That's the main factor. Then when you get the result, you look at the performance. And then the third category is you look at what's happening elsewhere in the group. And I think it is 20 points you need. We need 20 points. We need to win the 2 games. If we don't win the 2 games, we're not going to be in second spot.
Yeah, I agree with you, Gordon, because I think, you know, again, you're looking for England to defeat Slovenia. You then have to beat Slovakia at home, and then Slovenia away is where I think we've got to get maximum points, because we will have that bonus of being ahead of Slovakia regardless of what they do against Malta. And here's the table just to prove that statistic. Maybe it might change your mind, Ruffy, on it, but 4th only in goal difference, but that will all become academic. It's just making sure that in second place we're not the unluckiest country in the world, Ruffy, who finally become the 9th place team that doesn't get to a playoff. But I think it's looking good for us if we can win those final 2 games.
Yeah, well, obviously, the way I'm looking at it is if we beat Slovakia, you know, Slovakia can get 3 points. You know, that would take them on 18. And we would have a chance to have 4 points, would take us on 18 as well.
Right.
You know, and then obviously you've got to take the results away, as you were telling me, against Malta. And
no, that doesn't matter.
And it's games against each other, you're saying?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is if we get 18 points and they've got 18 points...
So we would have to beat Slovakia 3-0.
It's goal difference that matters. No, what matters is the goal difference aspect. And they're 4 points, they're 4 goals better off than we are at the moment. So say we beat them 1-0, we would still need to then score 3 goals in Slovenia to get 4. But how many goals are they going to get against Malta? Their last game's Malta, so they could ratchet up a few goals against Malta, which means that if we only get 4 points, I think we're out. I think it's 100%, 6 points is required.
Yeah, I agree with you on this one. As far as last night's concerned, I mean, some players were walking a suspension tightrope. I think every time Scott Brown went into a challenge, you could hear the gasps from the stands. But Gordon Strachan said there were a few players a little overcautious going into the game.
I think they were just making sure they were never getting involved in anything that might give them a yellow card. I think that affected one or two maybe tackles or going in for the ball, and they were just making sure they didn't get involved. So they had to try and play really low tempo, and even ask them not to get, excited with the referee or get a yellow card for kicking. So it had to be a bit of a more low tempo to make sure the guys got through that. So that's a bonus as well.
I think, Barry, that he's been so consistent in the fact that he wants players who've played at a high level. If you're playing in the Premier League, that's a real bonus for him. If you're playing in Scotland, you're playing in the Champions League consistently, playing at that high level, then again, that's helped him. He wants key players who can play at international level, and the step's not a huge step.
Yeah, well, you just look at the Celtic players. Every single Celtic player that was in the squad that played, they're playing at a high level, they're playing Champions League, they're playing in pressurised situations all the time, and that's what we need, players that have played in high level games. Going back to Scott Brown, I was worried, because for me over the last 2 or 3 years he's certainly improved as a footballer and as a leader, and he's key for us getting into these next 2 games. But again, he needs all the big players. It was a worry in case any of them got a booking, but thankfully we came through it.
I agree with you, Barry. I thought he would actually leave him out. I was quite surprised when he got picked on the basis of no great disrespect to them, but Malta haven't beaten MD. I thought we beat Malta.
I think you just looked at it for the Lithuania game. The 11 that started,
keep the team together,
that 11 that played in Lithuania, let's be honest, they were fantastic. That's the best I've seen them play under Gordon Strachan.
Agreed, yeah.
And I think you just wanted to carry that on into the Malta game. But I would have probably looked at maybe leaving 1 or 2 out, which Gordon's just said there. But again, you've got to look at it. Listen, they were flying.
Especially Scott Brown in terms of his style of play.
Yep.
If MD's going to maybe get a yellow card, it would be Scott Brown, wouldn't it? So I thought that he's such a key element to it, especially was in Lithuania. He's outstanding. Yeah,
he's a leader, and you need, certainly in the middle of the park, we need him. If he wasn't available for the Slovakia game, who do you play in there?
That's right.
I don't think we've got MD that's similar to Scott Brown, and we were talking off air. If that scenario happened, I would have probably moved somebody like Charlie McGrew into the middle of the park. But listen, we've got Scott Brown, so let's look forward to the Slovakia game.
Yeah, and of course you go into those games with 2 wins, and the belief in the squad increasing day by day, according to the manager.
They had the belief when things were only going well to pick themselves up and go again. It showed no matter what the belief would be elsewhere, they had a belief in themselves. So that was good. So we put ourselves in a position now that if we go into the final couple of games, we've still got a chance of getting to the playoffs.
Yeah, now we're in that position, Ruffy. It's the most optimistic I've actually seen you in the last couple of weeks. You've just really become patriotic again.
No, as Barry said, I was as high as a kite, like everybody against Lithuania. I thought it was a fantastic performance. And me, just like the rest of the supporters, maybe just expected a wee bit more last night. All right, the 3 points was what we wanted and we got it. I just thought, that game, if we just a wee bit more going into the Slovakian game, I think we'd be more confident, if you know what I mean. I think if we'd, I know 3 and 4 looks good on paper, but I just think the performance last night wasn't obviously as good as the Lithuania one. If it had it been as good as the Lithuanian one, I'd be getting into the, the next game buzzing. But I'm just in a wee bit that we don't seem to be breaking down sides, the way the good side. I mean, let's not take it away. Malta and Lithuania are the 2 worst teams in the group, but we still took the 6 points.
Correct.
We'll have
but we had
to up our
23
game.
efforts. We had 23 shots on target, at goal.
But I'm sure every other team's had 25 shots against them
Malta,
as well.
yeah.
They're murdered.
I know.
No, what I'm saying is that Slovakia is going to be a different kettle of fish. We're going to have to play our best. The Lithuania game was a great game. We'll have to match that.
I think you're right. You put in perspective. That was the 2 bottom teams we played against, Lithuania and in Malta. But I mean, we struggled against both of those teams in the previous matches, didn't we? We drew at home with Lithuania, and against Malta, we got a bit of luck in that game in Malta with the goals we got, and they got an ordering off. That's right, and I don't think he should have been sent off. So you take that into perspective. What we're trying to do is we're hoping that the confidence is building, because the 2 games we've got now are 2 really hard games coming up.
But the big thing for me was it was the England performance. I think they brought that into the Lithuania performance. I thought against England they were fantastic. And listen, everybody can say, I know Lithuania ain't a great team, but away from home, a pitch that the guys are probably not happy with playing on, but I thought it suited us. I thought we started the game really well, on the front foot, closed them down, and the guys will tell you, when you play against guys that are not at the standard that you are, and you pressurise them, they make a lot more mistakes, and that's what we've done. Just last night, I was expecting the same from them, which was disappointing. But again, listen, I'm not caring about the performance. We've got the 6 points. That's all that matters to me. And then we move into the Slovakia game. But I was switching back and forth. Slovakia are a decent team. They've got a lot of good technical players, so that's going to be a hard game. We need to be at it for the get-go against them. Yeah,
well, we're going to talk about Slovakia. We're going to hear from more of the Scotland players as well. We'll look at the starting lineup from last night and get these guys to give us their thoughts on anybody that may well force themselves into the side for those 2 crucial matches coming up in October. Never any doubt in my mind that Barry Ferguson would take a 1-0 lead in the quiz there. He gets the right answer, 1974. OK, prior to the break, we were talking about Scotland's performance. They get the 6 points from the 2 games, and now all roads are back to Hampden on October 5th for that match against Slovakia. You would have thought maybe the manager was looking ahead with eager anticipation.
Going to get go and get a decent cup of tea, and then start thinking about that later on. I'm not thinking about that just now. What I have to do is keep an eye on the players for the next 4 weeks, 5 weeks, to make sure that they're on top form. By the time it gets round again, there might be other guys who are ready to go, maybe other guys who get injured, so I have to keep an eye on all that. So that's what we'll be doing the next month.
Yeah, that's the nightmare for an international manager, Barry, is somebody dropping out.
Certainly for the last 2 games, the starting 11, both games, for me has been really a really strong team. So that'll be the worry for the manager, that none of these guys picks up an injury. But again, if there is injuries, that's why you pick a large squad. There's certainly a lot of quality as well on the bench. There's a lot of guys that will be pushing. So it's a big 4 or 5 weeks for the guys that have not played these 2 games to try and prove to the manager that they can come in and do a job.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the starting 11, it was the same starting 11, Ruffy, from the game against Lithuania. There you have it. And I mean, would you see anybody changing maybe 1-2 positions there?
No, I think he'll be encouraged that the centre half position, Berra and McGrew, seem to be a bit more solid than Hanley and Martin. We were always saying that was our weakness, but I think at home they're the kind of guys you want to play, because I don't think Slovakia are going to be on top of us. I think we're going to have a lot of the possession, so I think building up for the back is going to be important. I think Charlie can do that, and so can Berra, you know, so I can't see a change there at all. 2 full backs are the best we've had for a long time, and they're proving that, how important they are. James Forrest, I thought, could have been a wee bit more influential last night. You know, okay, he might have just had an off night, but I think in the wide areas, I think they're important. The boy Phillips coming in looks a big, strong boy. But again, you know, I think we need to get more support for midfield.
You've also got Snodgrass, who, once he starts playing, you know, he's not been playing so far this season, but he's moved on now, and if he begins to get games, he comes right into contention, I think, for a place too.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see, I agree with you, Ruffy, I'd like to see more from James Forrest. I think if you've got a player with a trick, a talisman, I mean, we're talking about, 10 years ago, you're playing in the Parc des Princes, you've got James McFadden who can do something just that wee bit out of the ordinary. We need somebody to suddenly get past a man and make it 2-on-1 or do something different.
Yeah, that's probably the thing that we're maybe missing. The last third, that wee bit of magic, and we obviously had that 10 years ago with Faddy. He could dribble past a couple of players. I do think James Forrest has got it in him. I do. I just want to see more from him. Sometimes he frustrates me when I watch him, but on his day, I've seen him in the Celtic jersey. Some days he's been unplayable. I just want, hopefully he can bring that to the international scene. But I'm looking at that team, I don't see a lot of changes. Maybe what Gordon says, Snodgrass has not played a lot. He's got his move. Maybe he'll play 4 or 5 games leading up to the next game. That could be only change. Maybe Snodgrass coming in for Forrest. But I like pace in the wide areas, and certainly Phillips and James gives us that. But again, Snodgrass gives you that wee bit of magic. So it's a bit of a dilemma for the manager. Yeah. And I'll go with Ruffy says the centre backs. I think it's a good double act to two of them. Berra for me is an old school centre half, wins his headers, and Charlie certainly, he's got a great left foot and he can pick a pass. So they two have certainly been a bonus as well.
Yeah, of course, now that you get the wins and you know what's at stake, there is a belief, according to Leigh Griffiths, rippling through this squad.
We'll always believe in, our own ability in the changing room, and we always knew that the gaffer was the right man for the job. It's sometimes in football you need that little bit of luck. I think after we got the goal against Slovenia at home, things really started to turn for us, and then obviously I'm lucky to get 3 points against England, and then we go this double header and kept 2 clean sheets and got maximum points, which was crucial. Yeah, I think everybody was obviously saying it was the same old Scotland that we're failing on a big stage, and then we quickly turned it around. Obviously the last few performances, so we need to keep that momentum going, and the next double header is going to be crucial for us.
It's amazing, you go back to that match against Lithuania at Hampden Park, he was nowhere to be quoted, never mind seen.
No, I know, that's the thing about it, he wasn't playing him. When a lot of people, including ourselves, were saying we didn't understand why he wasn't getting picked, because he was in great goal scoring form. I know that last season a little bit he was in and out of the team because Dembele was playing regularly, but he's come back onto a game today and this season, and you see the performance of him over the 2 games. He's really is a vital player. He's involved in a lot, not just the goals he scores himself. He's involved in goals for other people as well. He can take the free kicks. He takes the corner kicks for us as well. So I think that he has to play. He's now the #1 striker in the squad without doubt. But I mean, you going back to the last Lithuania game, the one at home, there was only one player played in the away game that had played in the home game. So there's been crucial changes in that team. 10 players changed from the team that only could draw at home to go to Lithuania and win 3-0.
I think we have to be honest and say we're quite fortunate that Dembele's it. Because if Dembele had been playing, Leigh might not have been playing as many games as what we thought, but now he's getting a regular game. You can see he's absolutely buzzing. You see he's that kind of guy anyway, but even last night when he was out of the game, any time he got it, you looked as if he's going to cut inside, and he's prepared to have a shot, which is good, because if you take, as I said earlier, if you take the 2 worst teams out of the section, we're only averaging a goal a game, against the good sides. So we need to find a way to get that second goal.
Well, for me, since Brendan Rodgers came in, I think he's learned to play that lone striker role perfectly over the last year. For me, he's one of Scotland's most important players. He's a born goal scorer. He gets in that last third. The only thing that's on his mind is having a pop at goal. And I loved his attitude against Lithuania. For me, he had a really, really good game, set up a couple of goals, but he was raging getting took off, coming off because he hadn't scored. But I like that about him. He's a big player for us, and hopefully he can keep fit over the next 4 or 5 weeks leading into the next double header, because he's going to get his goals, there's no doubt in my mind. Yeah,
my problem with him is the calf. Obviously Celtic fans were looking at him coming off, he's holding his calf, and you're thinking, is this the old problem coming again?
I think he knew that there was nothing really in that. That was just precaution. I think he'll play against Hamilton on Friday. No doubt in my mind.
Yeah, and can I ask you? I mean, when we're talking about talisman players, do you think he's the key to us getting into the playoff?
Yep, I do. He's the one player that when he gets in that final third, it looks. I mean, he can score all sorts of goals. Dead ball situations, he's excellent. You see him taking all corners, all free kicks entering 30 yards in. When he gets half a yard, he looks to have a strike on goal, and then you seen the goal last night, he scored for a yard, so he scores you all sorts of goals. He is one of the most important players in that squad for me.
Yeah, and the big game is, first and foremost, never mind Slovenia away to finish the whole thing off, it's against Slovakia, and Christoph Berra says it's bigger than the England game.
Obviously, the England game was massive, but this one,
Just with what's at
yeah,
stake?
this one's in the grand scheme of things bigger because it could be to qualify or not to qualify. So if we win that, it would be massive for our confidence going to the last game against Slovenia. So it's going to be difficult. They've got really good players, some players that play for top clubs in Europe, and but you know at the moment we've been doing well, and we need to take that momentum into the games.
Okay, are you optimistic, Ruffy, that we're going to get 6 points from the last two games, and Slovakia at home first of all?
Yeah, I think the Slovakia game will be a tough one. I think we saw how good they were in their own backyard. They proved even last night that they've got quality players, and they're the kind of team that can come, and if you let them score, you know, they're quite capable to see the game out, and that's why the only worry I would have is I think we need to find 2 goals. I don't think 1 goal is going to be enough. I think on the night we'll have to obviously play particularly well, but I think we've got players on a night. I think Barry's been there, I've been there, you know, on the night when the chips are down, crowd behind you, players raise their game, and strange things happen at Hampden, and I think that night something will happen. It'll just be something we'll walk away with a win.
Gordon?
I think I'm quite positive, but I think you can't even think about Slovenia. This is only one game that's crucial, is Slovakia, because it's like a cup final, and then if that's won, you then go on to the next one. You can't think about the 2 games because it's all down to this one game against Slovakia. They're a good side. They beat us comfortably when we went over there. I think it's going to be a very hard game. I think that if we get the win, I think the confidence will build for the second game as well.
Briefly, are you confident?
I was confident. A lot of people weren't sure if we were going to get the result in Lithuania. I was confident. I look back, I keep going back to it was English performance. The last couple of games before that were good. We brought that into this double header, and as Gordon says, we can't be looking at Slovenia away. This is a cup final. We're at Hampden, 52,000 fans roaring behind you. What more do you want? Yeah, we'll go out there and we'll beat them. But as Ruffy says, I do think we'll need to get a few goals because they're a decent team, as I says, with a lot of good players and guys that are playing at a high level in tough leagues throughout the world. So it's a big one, but I think we can do it.
Yeah, listen, I don't know about you, Ruff, he's filled me full of confidence already. Let's get movies on that inspires, and let's just start fighting with everybody. It's as simple as that. Fergie's one up in the quiz as well. Is he going to deliver the final hammer blow with this question? I have a sneaky feeling he might win the quiz on this question alone. Join us after the break for more football chat. Nothing like a loaded question, Ruffy, to win the quiz. I mean, it was a stonewall certainty as per the terms of his contract for sitting in here. Must-win quiz.
Oh, well, I like to let the visitors win sometimes.
Yeah,
We both got it though.
I know. Over and above that, it's hard to believe when we were talking about Scotland, Barry, you, like so many other players, you know, would love to have been at a major championships, and we're still waiting.
Yeah, I get asked the question quite a lot about your career. I mean, listen, I can't complain. I had a successful career in terms of who I played with, how many games I played for, and obviously captaining a team you support as a young kid in Rangers, and then making your Scotland debut and representing your country, and then captaining your country. That was the only thing I would have loved to have done. I was saying to Ruffy off air that I'd have loved to have went to a major championship in terms of like a World Cup or a European Championship, just to experience it.
Yeah.
But listen, I'm hopeful this group can go one better.
Yeah, it would be absolutely magnificent. It would probably put an end to the Ruffy 3 World Cup stories that we've had to endure over a sustained period, Gordon. He was at it last night with the Tartan Army yet again, just nailing everybody about the fact he'd been to 3 World Cups.
Well,
he was milking the audience.
So would
You've got to do
that.
it. You know, it's, as I say, especially when it's a big factor now, especially in the fact that Scottish teams aren't even getting to major finals. To have been at 3 is fantastic. So I think I wouldn't take away from him.
It was just big for me because I was playing with Partick Thistle. You know,
Yeah.
what had we done now? You know, you wouldn't get, you know, the chance to get into a Scotland team.
Yeah.
You know, because so you just grab it and take it. But there were some wonderful players there. You know, as Barry touched on, even in '86 we had. I mean, every World Cup we had great players. You know, players that were playing in Champions League finals and or European Cup finals and UEFA Cup finals, and so I mean that's the quality that was there.
Yep, fingers crossed we can get there. 2 big games ahead. Of course, England shoe-in. They did as a turn. I was reading this morning some of the Scotland fans loudly cheering. I didn't hear loud cheering. I just heard ripples of England have scored after going a goal behind. And boy, did we need it, Ruffy.
Yeah, we certainly did. We all knew that team, as we've spoke about it earlier, they've got a bit of quality on their side. But again, they're no prolific goal scorers away from home. They're the kind of team you don't want to play against. If you let them score, okay, it never worked for them last night. But if you do let them score, they think they're good enough to just come away with 1 goal. You know, and that's the problem. That's my only problem, that you have to be prepared to break them down. You know, and that might be people getting down the flanks, quality balls into the box, and I think that's what we'll have to do. I think I keep saying, I mean, I'm old school. I think this is another get up and get them. You know, this is a make them. They're not going to come here and start, you know, at Hampden just parading about and wee passes. We've seen, I'm just picking Celtic, you know, playing against Barcelona. We've seen what can happen when you get in about these big players, get in about these big teams. Don't let them settle and put them off their game, and I think that's what we'll do. And Barry touched on it, the support's going to be a massive night. They're going to be big. The noise in Hampden, we've all been there, you know, it's a big factor. And it can just put the opposition on the back foot if you're getting in about them.
I've played in some big games at Hampden, and I've seen guys who have played at the top level in world football, and I've seen their faces look round about when Hampden's in full flow.
Well, you played in the last game that I actually think Hampden was at its best. I know it's a stadium that I'm not a fan of it, but you played in the Italy match, and that's the last time I've seen that place really rocking.
I've played in a lot of games like cup finals and whatever, and I've played in Scotland games where Hampden disappoints. I think it's behind the goals. It's too far away for me.
Yeah,
it's too far away. But you're bang on with that Italy game. That is the best I've ever experienced in terms of the atmosphere. I mean, I played no firm games there, but that Italy game that night, you couldn't hear yourself on the pitch. You couldn't even shouting at guys or whatever. Maybe they were just ignoring me, my teammates. But you couldn't hear for the full 90 odd minutes. It was electric that night, and we need that again against Slovakia. If we get that, I'm sure the players will come and freeze.
Yeah, I'd even take a goal similar to the one you scored from a yard out. I mean,
That was 3 yards.
Yeah, I felt that's when you're at your best. 3 yards out, he's bound to score. I still can't forget the referee and the free kick though.
That was never that. That's another one. I think it was. I couldn't believe it myself. I think the Italian player was even surprised.
Yeah,
I know he made a meal of it, but I mean, if it was Alan Hutton, in fact, he tried to cut inside, and he just stood still. He couldn't move anywhere. But listen, that's a luck we get, isn't it?
Yeah, it's still good to see we've all let it go. Without being critical of our neighbours, Gordon.
Yeah.
I don't see anything with them. I don't see. I mean, Dele Alli is an emerging talent, but I think they lack the flair of previous England squads. I don't think they're going to set the World Cup alight.
I don't know if they will, because they certainly were a big disappointment in previous tournaments after qualifying comfortably. I mean, this is, you might say they're even qualifying this time comfortably, but I think they've got good players, and they have in the past too, but they never really produce it on the big day. I don't know whether it's basically the pressure of being England and expectancy that they have. When they go to a big tournament, the English people are already talking about winning it. Do you know what I mean? And yet they don't. I mean, they won one, and that was at Wembley. every game I was at Wembley. But they do feel they're always going to achieve because they've got the best league in the world, as they talk about and all that, but they underachieve. And even that last night, I watched the game, watched 2 games at the same time. It's quite funny how you can do that. They don't seem to be all both flowing at the same time. And I watched both the Scotland game and the England game. And England, I felt, took a wee while to get going. But you know what they did show, Peter? They showed a lot of energy as the game went on. That Slovakia were struggling with that part of the game as the game moved into the part of the second half. England were getting more and more on top and were creating a lot of chances. They weren't scoring, finally got the goal, which basically could have been stopped by Slovakia. It was a great finish, but Slovakia shouldn't have lost that goal.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed, but there was a wry smile on Ruffy's face because he couldn't believe as a man you could do 2 things at once there.
Can't believe you get away with 2 tellies in the living room.
Yeah,
I know.
absolutely. Showing off, Ruffy.
I've got what it's called an iPad.
Yeah,
absolutely. I've never heard of that.
He's lucky he can text, never mind watch 2 phones. But I take your point. I mean, listen, if we talk about England and what they're capable of doing, I think the star of all the home nations has got to be Northern Ireland. I mean, there's 2 games to go and they've already booked themselves a game in the playoffs.
The job that Michael O'Neill's done there is phenomenal. They obviously qualified for the last tournament, and this year they've cemented their place in second place. I mean, they've got no superstars in their team. I mean, they've got Steve Davis, who I played with at Rangers, who's a fantastic player. Johnny Evans and the guy like McGuinness up front at Kilmarnock. He never exactly was a top player up here, but he's scoring on an international stage. It just looks to me that he's got a good group of right togetherness there. And they look at me every time they go. They play for each other. They love playing for the jersey. And listen, they've got every chance of going to Russia.
Well, just picking up on your point there, I mean, look at the team: Michael McGovern, McLaughlin, Evans, Hughes, Davis that you mentioned, Brunt, Corey Evans, Dallas, Norwood, Washington, McGuinness, and the subs, Leigh Hodgson, Lafferty, Ferguson, that came on last night. I mean, that is not...
Barry's spot on. I've been saying this, and I made the point before for the European Championship, Peter, that team, we were all saying, I mean, there was a lot of talk even in Scotland saying, we don't have the players, that's why we are struggling. And I've made the point, I said, look through that Ireland team and say, how many of those players would get in our team in front of the players we've got? It's down to a good manager, good coaching, picking the right team, right tactics, and he's done it now for 2 different tournaments. And you've got to say Michael O'Neill's done a fantastic job there, because with the resources he's got, what they're doing, they're in a group. Look who's in their group with them. You've got Germany in that group, the Czech Republic, Norway, teams that we've struggled against in the past.
With all due respect, Gordon, though, if we had just 2 players, if we had Johnny Evans and Aaron Hughes, even in his latter years, Ruffy, we wouldn't be wondering whether we're going to finish second.
No, I think it would obviously make us a better side. We've already touched on, I think Charlie and the boy Berra are as good as what we've got there now. You know, I think if they've been there possibly earlier on in the group, we might have had another maybe couple of points here and there.
Yeah.
But yet Northern Ireland's, I was playing golf with Jimmy Nicholl, and Jimmy was telling me he's only got 25 players to pick for. And there's only about 12 of them playing first team football.
I know. See,
it shows you how incredible it is.
It's amazing what they've done.
You go through the Northern Ireland squad, there's a number of the guys in League One.
Yes.
There's some in League Two.
Yeah.
And for the job they've done over there, it's...
Well, that point you're making is where I think the next question comes. With success, he'll get a run if he can get them to the World Cup, after the European Championships as well. If he gets them to the World Cup, suddenly his stock rises, Ruffy, and suddenly people are looking saying, well, we'll have him and they'll take Austin McPhee. There's a big job out there for him.
It certainly is. I mean, we saw when Coleman did particularly well with Wales. Everybody was wanting him, but he wanted to stay.
Yeah.
I don't think Michael would be like that. I think Michael would want club football at some time in his career. I mean, a really good club that he could go to. And you're right, his stock will be really high just now.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, after the break, we'll move on from international football. We'll maybe get Barry's thoughts on Champions League football. We'll maybe look at some of the domestic issues on hand as well and get his thoughts on the return to domestic football over the weekend. Pedro Caixinha's Rangers, of course, Hamilton take on Celtic on the Friday. So there's lots to talk about. You can interact with us as well at Peter and Ruffy on Twitter and facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy. We'll also talk about two men at St Johnstone who are picking up awards. Tommy Wright and a certain Michael O'Halloran will occupy our thoughts right after this break. Join us if you can. Yeah, 4 goals, and he's the player of the month alongside the manager of the month, which happens to be Tommy Wright of St Johnstone. Congratulations to both for the double. Just one of a number of players that used to wear the Rangers jersey, Gordon Smith, that are scoring goals away from Ibrox now.
Yeah, a number. The only difference is that Rangers can still have him back because he wasn't sold, he's on loan. So, you know, whether Pedro Caixinha stays in the job or not beyond Christmas, that Michael Halloran could be back at Ibrox. He's certainly in great form. It's not just his goal scoring, he's also creating as well and playing really well.
Yeah, just I don't know if you noticed the way he threw that in there. You know, who's got a longer future, Michael O'Halloran possibly or Pedro Caixinha, because this is a big month for Rangers, Barry.
Yeah, it's a big month, but I don't see Michael O'Halloran going back to Rangers after what the manager said last week, or the week before, sorry.
I can see him going back if the manager's not there.
Yeah, but I didn't like that. I mean, listen, I get that a new manager, you come in and maybe you don't fancy the player, and maybe you think maybe he's mentally not strong enough or whatever, but I think there's a place, and a time and a place when to do that behind closed doors. I just didn't like coming out and saying that about the player. But listen, he's went on loan to St Johnstone, and to be fair, he's off to a flyer. I don't know what Tommy Wright does up there. Again, he's done a fantastic job. He just looks to me that he gives players confidence and players want to play for him. But going back to Rangers, it's a big month. I know they get a good result up at Ross County, but they need to keep on Celtic and Aberdeen's coattails just now, leading up to the Old Firm game towards the end of the month. It's went okay so far. I know they've dropped 4 points at home. They need to pick that form up a bit, but it's a big month for them.
Yeah. Have you seen enough that suggests that they can close the gap on it? He's almost in a game-by-game basis as a Rangers manager, where you think the pressure, you know what it's like.
No, listen, you get that pressure playing at Rangers, but I think you can't judge him. You've got to let the first quarter of the season get out of the way first. I mean, we're still early into the season. He's made a hell of a lot of signings. To be fair to the club, they've backed him in terms of transfer fees and wages. You've still got to give these players time, but again, you don't get a lot of time at Rangers.
Yeah.
In terms of the players that have come in, Alves, listen, he's been there and done it. He's played at a high level all his career. He's 90 odd caps for Portugal. Graham Dorran's a player I've always liked. I think he'll be a right good player for Rangers. Jack knows the league inside out. He'll be a solid addition. And the boy up front started scoring. Morales, he started scoring a few goals. But the other players that he's brought in, the jury's still out.
Yeah.
But we've got to give them a bit of time. But as I say, you don't get a lot of time at Rangers.
Just your thoughts on this. And it's a thorny subject, but Peña is something that's going to be a rod for his own back. You can't bring in a player for that sort of money and he doesn't kick a ball for Rangers. That's not good enough.
Yeah, well, I had heard a few things regarding spending a lot of money on him, which 2.5 million or just under 2.5 million, and I would gather the wages will be pretty decent as well. Now, I was looking forward to seeing this guy, but we've not seen enough of him. I watched the game on TV against Ross County, and he never exactly played great, did he? He didn't look great, but listen, I know he's had a few fitness concerns, but he's been here long enough now to get up to speed with the rest of the guys. I find it strange. Hopefully they've worked with him an international break again, that he's not had any time off, that they've went and done double sessions or whatever to get fit. Because one thing you need to do when you play up here, you need to be fit. If you're not fit, you'll get run over the toppy. And he certainly doesn't look fit to me just now. But hopefully, as I said, this 2 weeks, they've worked him, and hopefully we'll see him in a Rangers jersey producing on the pitch.
Yeah. As far as the other sides, no surprise, Martin Canning's been speaking today, Ruffy. I think sooner or later we're going to have to cut Hamilton Accies some slack, because we've all tipped them for the drop, but they just keep surprising everyone, Ruffy.
Well, that's the motivation, isn't it? As a player, you know, if everybody's tipping you get together as a group, and you're more solid, and that's the strength of Hamilton Accies for me, is when the chips are down, they all seem to fight for each other. You know, they all seem pretty close together. Any guys we've had in, you know, they seem to be mates rather than just playing with the club, and that's the strength that they've got. And if you see them, when you see them playing, you know, they scrap for everything. They bite, they're at you. And they're getting the results just now. That we don't all want to see them going down. It's just because of the resources that they've got. But if they keep playing the way that they're doing just now, then they might be safe this year.
Yeah, I love the way you said might, but you're still tipping them for the drop, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm still hanging on in there. I don't like to be proved wrong.
Of course, Martin Canning reckons that it's been a good start to the season, but of course, if they're going to stop Celtic on Friday, it's going to take a huge slice of luck.
Not a game to relish. I think as a player, and as a manager, as a coach, as any bit of the backroom staff, you want to be involved in the biggest games, and there's no bigger than Celtic coming here. So yeah, it's going to be difficult because they're a top team, they've got top players. Like I said, the biggest thing for me is concentration, and whatever team is going to end Celtic's run is going to need to ride their luck massively, because it's the same the game we beat them at Parkhead a few years back. They missed so many opportunities, and we pretty much took our only opportunity, and it's going to be the same again. You need to ride your luck, you need to work hard and earn your breaks on the night, and you need to be clinical. If you get opportunities, you need to go and take them, and hopefully that can be the case on Friday.
Well, you're a Hamilton boy, but we're all of the opinion, we've picked, I think, Hamilton, Ross County for the playoff. Have you differed from that, Gordon? No?
I think I had the same, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was.
What about yourself?
No, listen, I've got a soft spot for Hamilton, obviously.
So have we, but we keep tipping them to go down.
No, to be fair to Martin Cannon, he's and obviously the board, they've stuck by him, and he's had a really good start. No, I'm hoping they stay up. I'm hoping they stay up. I mean, it's going to be
says,
close.
Barry, the reason we do tip them is nothing in terms of MD's ability. It's just resources.
Yep.
That, you know, they've probably got less money than MD.
They probably get the lowest. They've probably got the lowest budget in the league. So for Hamilton to stay in the league, it's a great achievement.
Yeah.
It's a great achievement, but it's going to be close. There's a few teams, like my big mate Leigh McCulloch, are just desperate for Leigh to get his first win under his belt. Yeah. I think once Leigh gets his first win, they'll start to snowball a bit, and they'll move forward.
Yeah, I haven't. Yeah, I think you had Motherwell as your playoff team, and you had Dundee, Ruffy. I don't see Kilmarnock. I mean, they were disappointing against Celtic in the Betfred Cup, but other than that, I think the experiences, and once they get a couple of wins, I think they'll be all right.
I think they'll be okay, but I think they'll be one of the teams that are down there for a large part of the season. You know, and then as we saw on numerous occasions, when you get to the end, when there's maybe 7 or 8 games left, it's the team who sticks in 3 wins, you know, that draws themselves away from that danger area, or draws into the top 6, what Partick Thistle did last year. But I think it's a long season for a lot of these clubs that are going to be down there, and we're all going to be talking about them as the season goes on. Is it them or is it them? And it's a horrible situation to be in. You know, there's the pressure that goes with it, and the livelihoods and the contracts and everything. It's horrible when you're down there.
But the strange thing about Kilmarnock was, even if you look at the record last season, Peter, their away record was better than the home record. Yeah. A lot of people, they won more away games, and so far this season, all they've had is home games in the league. They've actually had 4 home games and 1 point from that. So they're maybe looking to get playing away from home. I mean, this weekend they're obviously up at Motherwell. That's a crucial game, because Motherwell are down beside them, so that would be a big game for them to win.
Also, a big factor, I mean, I've seen Leigh mention it in the press. back when we used to go to Kilmarnock, it used to be a sellout when we used to go to Kilmarnock. Even the Kilmarnock side used to be packed out. I mean, I'm seeing they're only getting maybe 2,500, 3,000 fans there, and it's a decent sized stadium.
Yeah, but he's in that transitional period, Barry, now where I think he's got to convince people to come back who were dissenters on the Michael Johnson situation.
But it's a difficult one for him. I think he's made some shrewd signings, to be fair. He's brought in a good mixture, guys experienced who have played at a decent level, and also he's got some decent young ones. I think they'll be fine.
They've been losing some bad goals, even though they actually brought in 2 really experienced centre halves, didn't they? You know, and yet some of the goals they've been losing have been pretty poor.
And of course, the way things are going, it looks as if Chris Boyd could be moving into the media world as well. I mean, he's had some record in the Premier League, but I think we're all of the opinion he's in the last year where people will see him out in a pitch.
Yeah, he'll still get you goals, Boyd. For me, out of all the guys I've played with, he's probably the best finisher I've ever played with. Give him a sniffy goal and he'll put it in the back of the net. But it does look, every channel I turn on, I seem to see Boydie on. But listen, he's good. Listen, it's a new career for him. He knows he's coming to the end of his career soon. I don't know. I've not spoke to him regarding whether he would like to play on or not. But I see he's getting into the media side, and it looks to me if he's enjoying it. But I still think he'll get goals.
It'll be a full call tonight, and I've got another 3 years in
I
me.
know.
Yeah, absolutely. If we see him on the Great British Bake Off, it's time to wrap it completely. But nevertheless, we shall see if he's still able to fire in the goals between now and the end of the season, or whether he is a prime candidate to replace Ruffy or Gordon, or even Barry. Anyway, thanks to Barry Ferguson for coming in as our guest alongside Gordon Smith and Alan Ruff. Do join us tomorrow on the programme, 7:30 once again, STV2, as we continue our look from international football towards the domestic scene, which returns over the weekend. We'll be looking again at all 4 divisions and in Scotland. From Barry, from Gordon, from Ruffy and myself, Peter, thanks for watching. Good night.